We are talking about how to prepare and file HST remittance online. A new company or a small company that has an accumulated total sales revenue of less than $30,000 will have the choice to either register or not register for HST account number. So the HST registrants will start to collect and charge HST on sales. At the same time, the company will be paying HST on purchases. And on the filing period, which will be determined by Canada Revenue Agency, either monthly, quarterly, or annually, the company will calculate HST charged on sales minus HST paid on purchases, and the difference will be either positive amount that will be returned or remitted to Canada Revenue Agency, or will be a negative amount which indicates that the company paid HST on purchases more than collected HST on sales, and in this case, Canada Revenue Agency will refund the difference to the company. So the company will receive this difference from Canada Revenue Agency. On the other hand, if the company does not register for HST account number because the sales is still less than $30,000, the company will not charge or collect HST on sales, but will still continue to pay HST on purchases. In this case, the company will not be allowed to receive the portion of HST paid on purchase that the company did through the year. Usually, Canada Revenue Agency will send you a letter indicating the reporting periods and the filing due dates. In our example, it's an annual filing, and the period will be from January 1st, 2023 till December 31st, 2023, and the due date will be by the end of March 2024. So March 31st, 2024 is the deadline. So to start, we have to make sure that the company entered all transactions and completed the bank reconciliation for the whole year. Then I usually depend on two reports. The first one will be the balance sheet. In our example, we use Sage 50, so we go to Reports, Financials, Balance Sheet, as at December 31st, 2023. And from the balance sheet, we usually will find HST charged on sales minus HST paid on purchases. But in our example, the company does not have sales. It's a new company. So we have HST owing a negative amount, which means that the company has a refund. The second report that I usually depend on will be the tax report. So we can go to Reports and then choose Tax from here. When the tax report window will open, you will choose the HST, and the period will be from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. I usually like to have the detailed report and then press OK. The tax report will confirm the refund amount that we have on the balance sheet, and it's also confirmed in writing over here. By the period end date, which is December 31st, 2023, we have to close all of the HST accounts and record the amount payable to the Receiver General of Canada by going into Payables and create invoice. So on the purchase invoice, we are going to choose Pay Later, and the vendor will be the Receiver General of Canada. The invoice date will be December 31st, 2023. In our case, we did not have HST charged on sales, but just in case, if you have HST charged on sales, the amount will be entered here as a positive amount because it is a liability account. In our example, we have HST paid on purchases. HST paid on purchases, it's a contra liability account, so it is debit by nature. We have to enter this amount in negative, and it is a liability account. As we said, we are closing the HST accounts. So if in our example, we are closing the HST paid on purchases account, which is debit by nature, so it has to be credit in the journal entry. In order to close the HST charge on sales account, which is a credit account by nature. In other cases, if you have HST charge on sales, in order to close it, it will be entered as a debit account. The difference will go to the accounts payable. In our case, we have a refund, so the difference is in negative. It will be debited to the accounts payable. So after posting the HST refund transaction successfully, usually I will create another balance sheet report as at December 31st, 2023. And now on the liability side of the balance sheet, you will find that the HST refund will be included in the total amount of the accounts payable. As you can remember, we closed all of the HST accounts into the accounts payable, and now after posting the transaction, they will not show on separate lines. So after calculating and recording the HST remittance in its corresponding year, which is January 1st to December 31st, 2023, now we can prepare to close the year 2023. So first we have to create and save all reports before closing the year. So we go to reports, financials, and start with the balance sheet as at December 31st, 2023. Income statement for the period from January 1st to December 31st, 2023, trial balance, statement of cash flows, general ledger for all accounts for the whole year. Now we can go to banking, check logs, list, and we can have the chart of accounts of this year, payables, vendor aged, receivable, customer aged, payroll, all reports for payroll, including the T4 slips, projects and inventory if you have any, recurring transactions, of course, journal entries for all accounts for the whole year. And after creating and saving all reports, now we can go to maintenance and check for the data integrity, make sure that the data is balanced and everything is okay. After that, we can start a new calendar year, 2024. And of course, the system will ask us if you want to back up the system. First, I usually back up the system and name the backup before starting a new year. When you start a new year, you have to remember to update the federal and provincial payroll claim amounts and the WSIB rate for employees. Now we can start the new year for the 2024, knowing that we are going to file the HST remittance in the year 2024. We are going to receive the refund and record it correctly in the year 2024. In order to avoid entering any transaction accidentally in the closed year, choose Do Not Allow Transaction dated before December 31st, 2023, and then press OK. Now we are ready to file the HST online. So log into My Business account, go to HST RT0001. From the HST window, File, choose File Return. From File Return page, make sure that the business number and the business name are correct. Then you have to select a return which is required. There are three choices. In our case, the first choice will be our selection, which is Goods and Services Tax Harmonized Sales Tax GST HST Return for Registrants GST 34. The second selection does not concern us, which is for foreign conventions and tour packages. The third choice does not concern us because it is for selected listed financial institutions. You will also have the confirmation of receipt, just explaining that at the end of the process, you will receive a confirmation number. You have to keep it for 6 years for your records, and you don't have to mail paper copies. Also, there will be a non-responsibility, then press Next. Now we are going to fill out the HST NETFILE questions, starting with the business number and the business name. Make sure they are correct, and the reporting period. From, which is required, so you have to enter the year, month, and date. You will have to enter 2023-01-01. To, which is required, you have to enter the year, month, and day. You will enter 2023 12/31. Then we have to select the following if they apply. In our case, we didn't select anything because they do not apply to our case. So this is in case you are remitting a nil return. I am filing a nil return, then all fields are zeros. It's not our case. Or about sales, and we don't have any sales, so I want to report one or more of the following types of sales on my return: exempt supplies, zero rated exports, goodwill, financial services, sales of capital real property, and supplies made outside of Canada, taxable sales of my associates, including zero rated supplies made in Canada. Reporting these sales will help us to properly calculate your reporting period threshold amount, but they do not apply to our case. Now we have to select all of the rebate applications you want to file with your returns. It does not apply to our case. We don't have any rebates. So the first choice will be the Ontario First Nations point of sale relief. The second choice will be general application for GST HST rebates. The third choice for public service bodies rebate. Then we have the new housing rebate application for houses purchased from a builder. Then we have a new residential rental property rebate application. None of these apply to our case, so we'll not choose any one. Then we have to select all of the schedules if we want to file with your return. We also don't have any schedules, but we are going to read Schedule 8, Transitional Housing Information for Builders. Schedule B, calculation of recaptured input tax credits for the provincial portion of the HST on specified property or services. Schedule C, reconciliation of recaptured input tax credits. And Form GST 106, information on claims paid or credited for foreign conventions and tour packages. None of this apply to our case, so we are going to leave it blank and press Next. Now we are going to enter the information of the HST return for registrants. You will have the business number, name, and the reporting period, which is starting from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. We start by entering the sales and other information on line 101, sales and other information. In our case, we don't have sales, so we have to enter the number 0. So as we mentioned before, in our case, we don't have any rebates. So we are going to leave line 135 and 136 blank. Net tax calculations, the total HST and adjustments for the period. In our case, we do not have any adjustments for the period. We leave it blank. Now we can enter the HST paid on purchases on line 108, total ITCs and adjustments or total input tax credits for HST paid on purchases. We are going to enter a positive amount over here. Just note that there is a specific case for non-resident suppliers who are registered under the simplified regime. This case only the HST paid on purchases cannot be claimed as an input tax credit or rebate. So this is a very specific case. In our case, we are going to enter a positive amount over here of the HST paid on purchases. Once we proceed by pressing on next, the system will automatically calculate the refund. So we don't have to enter anything over here. We don't have other credits, if applicable, so we are not going to enter anything on line 110 or 111. Other debits, if applicable. In our case, none of these applies to our case, so we didn't enter anything. It's for the real properties and purchases of emission allowances, HST to be self-assessed, so we will not enter anything here. As we said, the refund claimed or amount owing will be automatically calculated once we press on next. So now we are going to press on next. Now we are directed to the review page. We have to review that everything is correct. As we said, we are going to use line 101 for sales revenue and 108 for ITCs, which is entered in a positive amount. The system will show a refund of this amount, and the refund claimed is correct. Now we have to accept the certification which is required. We have to select the box to certify that the information is correct and then submit. Your return has been successfully filed. Your confirmation number will be provided over here. It is recommended to print and save the confirmation number for your records. If you go back to the overview page on My Business account, then you will recognize that they received your return. So later when you receive the refund, the way that you can record it is by selecting Pay Purchase Invoice. Remember that the purchase invoice was in a negative amount. Choose the vendor as the Receiver General of Canada. The method of payment can be in cash or check. You can put the description for the check number or the cash as the HST refund. The date when you are going to receive the refund in the bank account. You can select this choice. The journal entry will debit the bank account, which is correct because it's the money that we are going to receive. And it will credit the accounts payable, which will be correct.